Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Collider Interview Studio. It's IF 2024 at the Cinema Center, brought to you by the Range Rover Sport. I am lucky enough to be celebrating Can I Get a Witness with this wonderful team. Huge, huge, huge congratulations on your movie.
Thank you.
Clearly, I know what your film is. It is a film festival debut, which means a lot of our audience will not be aware of it just yet. So, Anne-Marie, I will give you these duties. Can you give a brief synopsis of your movie?
Well, the movie's about the future, and we've solved all the world's problems. We've mitigated climate change. We've eradicated global poverty. We have true trans-species democracy. We just have to
don't give it away.
Make a few little sacrifices for it. And young people have to do a little bit of service, as you have to do in a lot of countries. And if you have artistic inclinations, you can become a documenter and be like a court reporter to world events.
Are we not giving it away?
You can't possibly give it away. I think it's just like the film posits the question, what would you be willing to sacrifice if you were able to get world peace, all the things that Anne-Marie described? That's just you can just hover that with that question. What would you be willing to give up?
It's a very good way to put it. Oh boy, we're not going to spoil anything here. Anne-Marie, I have a really big question about crafting this idea, especially because you have so many very interesting threads that I think people will really love exploring. What was idea number one, the thing that started it all? But then also, did you have a break story moment, something you came up with that made your idea feel whole?
Very much the initiative for this is the climate. I'm from Vancouver. I used to live in the West End. Back in 2006, while people were discussing whether 1 or 2 trees should be cut down for a new bike lane, 10,000 trees were blown over in one night in a windstorm. There's always thoughts of earthquakes, tsunamis, blah, blah, blah. There was information on the news about CPP. Would the age limit be going up for that because we didn't have enough money in the coffers for our, tsunami of aging population, and people were living longer. And I just thought of Jonathan Swift, really, and I thought of his Modest Proposal, which I don't know if you know this. I mean, sorry, I'm a literature geek. He proposed for the Irish to eat their children if they needed protein, right? And it of course, it's just a very hard satire. So this is where this came from. It came from like a future with a ridiculous, hopefully absurdist solution to all of our problems.
So obviously a lot of very big ideas here, like a really ambitious character-driven piece. For the three of you now, when this script comes your way, what I guess were some of your first biggest burning questions for Anne-Marie in terms of how to tap into the story and your characters?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it was just such a luxury to be able to have Anne-Marie as such a direct resource. So there were for me, I really love the world that was built. And so I wanted to know more about the day-to-day life and how these characters get by and how they can build such a community comfortably with each other. So I feel like that was mainly what we focused on in that sense, and why we are willing to make such a sacrifice. And that cleared everything up.
Yeah, I definitely think that too. Just like kind of throwing yourself in Anne-Marie's world and kind of seeing, just trying to get like comfortable in that space, because I think my character is very optimistic and like kind of he believes in what he's doing, and just kind of trying to throw yourself in that and make it seem like an everyday thing was kind of what I was trying to do.
Well, if I might say, the first question you asked me is, do you think I can do this? Yeah. And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. I chose both of these actors because they absolutely embodied what I saw, what I wrote. And I just can't believe what a pleasure it was to see them bring these characters and this world to life.
Oh, I'm coming back to that. But Sandra, first I'll toss that same question to you.
Well, Anne-Marie and I are longtime collaborators. So when she brought me the script, I knew immediately that she was in a very interesting, deep, new place of her work. And it's a place where I wanted to follow. Because for me, let's say contemplating end of life, contemplating death, also in the same moment contemplating the future and life, is a place that's really interesting to me. Also the world that she's creating and where my character has to go ultimately towards the end of the film is someplace that I actually wanted to contemplate. And again, it is a fable. At the very beginning of the film, it's kind of like a fable. So there's things to learn in it. It's up to you to take whatever you want to learn in it. And my character Ellie is also, for me, it was like a fantasy mom, someone who would be able to approach her circumstances in the way that I would want to be able to approach. So that was great kind of practice to live in.
I have so many follow-up questions. I hope I can remember them all. First, I'll follow up on something you just said, Sandra, because I love in this industry when people meet each other and they create a long-lasting collaboration. So can you tell me how the two of you met, and maybe also what the first thing you saw in the other was that signaled to you, this is a good creative partner for me?
I saw you in a short at the CFC.
Helen's?
Yeah, with Adam Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you in
I did
that
a short with Helen Lee at the CFC with Adam Beach called Pray. You saw me that. I saw your short film, You Take Care Now. I saw Anne-Marie's You Take Care Now, and I thought it was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. And I was just like, who is this filmmaker? I really remember that feeling.
And we almost made a film together back in the early 90s that didn't go through. Yeah, and so it took a long time, and then we collaborated on Window Horses, which is an animated feature that we did together.
It's meant to be. I love it. I'm shocked I remember this other follow-up question that came to my mind. It was when you were talking about kind of like putting your material in their hands, because one of my absolute favorite things about making movies is that it's a team effort and everybody brings something new out of the original script. So can you tell me some new qualities of your own story that you only found through your collaborators here?
Well, a lot of this film was meant to be animated because this is a world where a lot is asked, and it takes a lot of, you have to repress feelings to be able to do your duty, really. And so Kiah is an artist, and she's drawing all of these events, and the illustrations come alive to show the emotions that can't be shown by real people. But when we were shooting, it was such an emotional experience for everybody. And the film, when we were editing it, we went, oh my goodness, like there's still animation in it. It's still important. It still tells another part of a story. But I couldn't believe how beautiful the film was, and it was like a nature bath. And I couldn't believe how invested all of the actors were, and all of the crew, and how, I sound like I'm, people say this, but it was really truly a collaboration. Everybody can see their hand in it. And, like,
what a beautiful way to describe it too. I love that. Now, Keira, I'm going to make this really awkward for you. This is the make Keira blush portion of our conversation, because when I looked up that this was your first feature, honestly, my brain can't quite compute it. So given the fact that the performance is incredible, I have a feeling there's going to be many other features and lead roles in her future. Can you each tell me something about her as a collaborator that you appreciated and you're excited for more filmmakers to experience themselves in the future?
I found Keira through an open call. And even though she had probably the least experience of anybody that I saw, she just had this quality, and she had a different read on this character. Like, she found the person I wrote. And, it's horrible for me to talk about. I feel like I should talk about both of you because I'm going to say the same things about you. But
I'll take that.
These two people showed up every day so prepared, so invested. It was such a pleasure. Like, I mean, I say this all the time, that I'm not totally not blowing smoke. Like, it was just a wonder. I just wanted, like, every day I went, thank you, Keira. Thank you, Joel. And there's just like, there's no way that you can tell that these are first feature performances, and your understanding of the material and what you gave, we were all just shaking all the time, just going, I can't believe it. They've done it again. It's true.
Just them being able to be the present actors that they are creates such a beautiful contrast between the generations and what each generation is going through, right? So you have this openness, and you also have, there's something in the youth that is, it cannot accept the reality of really what's going on. And it makes sense because Keira's own youthful innocence, so grounded in the character, but also her own, makes that storyline resonate even more. You get so much more emotional dimension, because they only know what they know. We know, as we should know, much more, and so it just makes this great dynamic, and it's because of them.
You're really great at discussing the content of this film without ruining anything. Very impressed by that. I'll narrow it down to the two of you now as scene partners, because while watching the film, it is incredibly obvious to me that this does not come to life as strongly as it does unless it has wonderful chemistry from the two of you at its core. So can you each tell me something about the other as a scene partner that you appreciated and think helped tee you up for success in the film?
I mean, you had so many more words to say than I did. So I just really appreciated that. But I think, yeah, just coming to set every day, you were so cheerful and like just approaching it with such a good attitude that I think was contagious for everyone, that it just made me feel so comfortable, especially like this is my first time doing a movie. I had no idea what to expect. And so working together every single day, like I just knew it was going to be a good time, and I knew that I was going to be safe and comfortable to just do whatever I wanted and not feel judged by anyone, but especially important to not be judged by your scene partner, because that made a world of a difference.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun, and it was really amazing, to witness this as your debut film. I mean, it's surprising. You think you've done like a thousand before. But it was just really special. I mean, I feel like every day was a new experience for us, and I mean, like, it was like our own little field trip, I guess, on our bikes. And I mean, Powell River was beautiful, and I think just seeing you in your element and so grounded, and it was just really eye-opening and inspiring. And I mean, it was great.
Beautiful answers. From my limited perspective, I see your work in the film and it just leaps off screen with, I don't know, such authority and confidence. So I got very high hopes. There's going to be many, many more good things to come for both of you. Sandra, before we end, I wanted to make sure to ask you about being a producer and producing more and more lately, especially, using your platform to get films made and seen that might not reach wider audiences, which I think is a really important thing in this industry. I have a big old two-part question for you about that. What sparked the interest or maybe the need for you to produce more? And also, what do you hope to bring to this industry as a prolific producer now?
I think that I entered into the realm of producing the way that I did is because at a certain point I had just a certain amount more power in my career, but it's really just to get closer and closer to the creative source and be able to have the not every place you can have a direct line to the creative source. And that's really why I moved into it, because that's the kind of relationship that I want to be a part of from the very beginning, to help foster and also to help support and champion. And regarding and what then, how that ripples out, I'm not exactly sure, except for here's something that Anne-Marie was interested in. It matches where I'm interested in. I don't know how many hours, days that we spent talking about it. So then also what happens is that she's talking to me, she's working stuff out all the time, trying to figure out all the time what she's doing, just getting deeper, also for me as well. And, things have shifted climate wise, but also tech wise, AI wise, the incoming of AI, so even in the earliest discussions, trying to figure out how do we put in all the elements that of the unknown and of what we as human beings are really not only consuming, but controlling and creating right now. And it's really just to have a hand in that conversation. That's really kind of why I am interested in producing. And if that kind of brings everything else along, which I think it does, I'm happy to do that as well.
More of that from you. More of everything from all of you. Seriously, huge congratulations on your movie. And thank you so much for sharing some of your experience making it with us.
Thank you, Perry. Thank you
so much.
Congratulations. Thank you.